One of the traps people get sucked into is like, I need ads to produce this and I need my organic to produce this, and they segment all the channels when they're all working, like we were saying before, they're all working together. So like when you do more content, all of a sudden your ad performance lifts. When you spend more on ads, you get more eyeballs on your content and the whole machine lifts as a whole. So as long as you track that, hey, we're getting more meetings booked, we're getting better quality meetings booked, our closing rates going up, our opportunity to close rates, revenue rates going up, ACVs going up, all of these core metrics are trending this way, spend more. If they ever start to stagnate or go backwards, that's when you need to do a deep dive and go, okay, what's going on here? There's the whole 7 hours of consumption to build trust and all that sort of stuff. And through Google's study, which the study is old now, so the number has probably increased to the amount of hours, but based on that study, which I think it was 2019, somewhere around there, the average consumer would need to interact with your brand or a brand for a total of 7 hours before, on average, before pulling the trigger or executing, like buying. So the whole aim of like the ecosystem, the create demand approach, producing content, showing ads, etc., is, and even through the sales process with sales collateral, videos, etc., is to build that 7 hours. But where sometimes people get a bit stuck is when they are driving a lot of leads and they've got really good flow, but the quality is pretty poor. So they end up having to just play the volume game and have sifting mechanisms and all that sort of stuff. But there is an approach through paid ads, keeping that hourly thing in mind, where we can start to drive up the quality of those interactions, the quality of people that are coming through. It's simply just by staging. So based on this, it's staging our retargeting efforts and our ad efforts based on video views, how much time people have spent in our ecosystem. So stage one is relating to like you could call it top of funnel, but like your problem unaware / problem aware people. You've heard me talk about the 5 stages of awareness. Yeah. So your stage one, it's like your, I don't know, mass market message. And that's most of the time your content that you're producing, etc., is going to be more mass market. How do I lose some fat? How do I do this? How do I do that? More surface level that's going to get wider appeal.
Eight ways to lose weight as a woman in her 40s. So it's like something like that, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So they're in a position where they're either not aware of the problem, such as you might say something like, I don't know, like you just said, how to lose weight in your 40s. It's not what you think. Hormones are actually destroying your ability to lose weight or something like that. So that's taking them from problem unaware to problem aware. Or if they're already problem aware, it's like the hack or this 3-step method to hacking your hormones to drop the last 10 pounds or 10 kilos or whatever. So that's speaking to someone that's more problem aware. So that's like your top level content, and that can run to whether you run some CTAs off that, like running them to, I don't know, a challenge, ebook, I know you run a calculator, so you could run that. And it's running that large volume of traffic through to there. You can amplify that with ads, or you can rely on the content. Either way, they're separate campaigns. Then you move into stage 2, which is more solution aware. So they know, like, we'll just run off the same example. They know hormones are their issue, and they've started to look for different solutions. We just want you to obviously be the solution that they choose to go with. So we can retarget them based on the length of content, retarget them based on video views, so 25 or 50% video views, and direct, that could be, you could have more like a, I don't know, you could have your VSL as an ad, for example, and retarget those short form video views, content video views with your VSL that educates them a bit more on your methodology, your approach, your philosophy, etc. Not pitching your program, but just like in an educational format of, hey, your hormones are destroying you. Here's the approach that we need to take to fix that. Pillar 1 is this, pillar, so on and so forth. So we can hit them with a long form video, or you could go short form and direct them to a long form video, such as click the link below to get the full training and then send them off to YouTube or a landing page or something like that.
Yeah, or you can comment the word blah, blah, right? Something like that.
Yeah, exactly. The main thing we want to do in this stage 2 phase is take the people who are actually watching our content from stage one and hit them with a more longer form content piece so that they're more educated and we're building up that 7 hours or 11 hours or whatever it is today. Then from there, we can retarget the people that actually consume this. Why I like the idea of having the VSL in feed is they can watch it, and that's worked for some of my clients, but for some, it has worked better to just send them off somewhere else to get them out of Facebook so they stop scrolling, because they might sit there for a bit, watch it, and then scroll off. So depending on what approach you're taking with this stage, you can retarget based on the video views. So people that, if it's an in-feed long form, retarget based on 25-50% video views. If you're shooting them off to a YouTube or get the training, etc., then retarget based on the page or where they've headed to. Then you finally hit them with your direct call to action. So that's the more typical ads that Dan shares in the course, etc. Hey, we've got this program, blah, 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 blah. And that's, you could run it as an application funnel or whatever. Then your final stage is just retargeting. So say you were running an application funnel and you're running people into Messenger to book a call, you could have a final offer to retarget everyone that jumped into Messenger but didn't book a call with, say, like an automated challenge offer or something. So the thought process being like, hey, I get it, you're not ready to book a call, here's something else. And then again, we're just building up that 7 to 10 hours. So that's a framework that I've used across a few clients. I actually picked this up ages ago from Ko and Ray, and then I've just made fine-tunings from that in that time. But does that make sense? Does anyone have questions on that?
Yeah.
Perfect. I'll get rid of this then. So the idea behind that is, like, obviously we want to, again, build those hours. But when you start to hit a critical mass point, so at the moment, out of my client base, I've got 2 clients that are at 8 figures. And we run this sort of approach because they, based on the volume and scale of their
companies?
One's coaching, one is B2B. So neither of them are fitness companies. One is in coaching, but more like the spiritually. So with that, they don't want high volumes of leads, because when you run at high volume, it can scale to a certain degree, but then you've got to start scaling through people, which, if you've read Naval Ravikant's work, people are the most expensive and most volatile resource to try and scale through, because we're all fucked up in our own little ways. So we're all a little bit weird. So the more that we can avoid that, and if you want to grow a company of any substantial size, not that I'm speaking from experience, like I've hired sales teams and stuff, but not hired in a company, but from observation and from friends that run big companies and clients, you do need to hire people at stages to obviously unlock new channels of growth, etc. But when it comes specifically to sales, if you are driving high volumes, then you either need to have super automated filtering systems or just like a huge sales force, which can get really expensive because obviously you're paying commissions or salaries or anything like that. So this is an approach that we run for them to increase the quality of people that actually make it into sales pipeline. And then the rest just stay in the ecosystem. They get free stuff, automated stuff, all that sort of jazz. So starting with that direct offer, get the revenue coming through. It's going to be a bit more manual work, grunt work. You're going to get less people who are less qualified, stuff like that. But we just need it to be profitable to get traction going. Once there's traction going, then in the background, like to start to shift to a follower-based campaign. So we take the best performing organic content, put it into the follower-based campaign, whether that's grabbing the post IDs directly, or we use that content piece, like the subject, to recreate the video with a CTA at the end of, hey, follow for more tips like this or something like that. And then we start to build that up, grow the following over time, until eventually we can flip and take the direct offer out of cold market and put it primarily towards warm market, retargeting the following, retargeting engages, etc. You need to hit like a critical mass point of, say, once you like over somewhere between 50 to 100K, and you'll get a feel for how qualified your audience is based on doing the reach outs and people coming through. When you're at that critical mass point, then you do the flip, and you don't just pull the ripcord and throw the baby out with the bathwater. As long as the cold campaign is profitable, keep it running, but then just start to run the warm campaign in the background. build it up, scale it up, see which one's more profitable, then make the switch. And then that will unlock a bit more scale as well eventually. Then you would start to run something like this when you're probably run something like this closer to like $500 to $1,000 a day in spend, because then
Ways to go.
yeah, a little bit of building, but you're not far off, like a bit more scaling. What's our general opportunity to close rate, regardless of source, so whether they're from ads or organic or whatever. And what you want to start to see is these top level revenue metrics trend up, because one of the traps people get sucked into is like, I need ads to produce this and I need my organic to produce this, and they segment all the channels when they're all working, like we were saying before, they're all working together. So like when you do more content, all of a sudden your ad performance lifts. When you spend more on ads, you get more eyeballs on your content and the whole machine lifts as a whole. So as long as you track that, hey, we're getting more meetings booked, we're getting better quality meetings booked, our closing rates going up, our opportunity to close rates, revenue rates going up, ACVs going up, all of these core metrics are trending this way, spend more. If they ever start to stagnate or go backwards, that's when you need to do a deep dive and go, okay, fuck, what's going on here? Then you would go to like a split the funnel analysis of your different capture sources. So inbound leads or like inbound reach outs would be one capture source. Manual outreach would be another capture source. Ads, another capture source. And then you work out the pipeline velocity, like how fast people are moving through, the ACVs, the CAC payback period, so how long is it taking us based on what we're investing to pay back our marketing investment. And you look at where your most efficient channel is, and then you continue to amplify the most efficient channel and prioritize growth of that channel, which will shift and adjust over time. For example, you might find that ads is the most profitable capture source for us right now. And then you continue to invest, in follower campaigns, etc., and grow, because you're going to continuously be experimenting and obviously trying to unlock new levels of growth. And you might find that flips and you go, oh, actually, our inbound traffic is starting to produce the highest quality leads, the best ACVs, all that sort of stuff. So now we start to prioritize how can we maximize the amount of inbound traffic we're getting. So let's amplify the follower-based campaign and hold the direct response campaign where it is. And then we scale. That might blow out even further where the inbound traffic just gets so profitable that you're like, and that's when you would do that flip and go, let's cut the cold direct, well, not cut, but let's introduce the warm direct response offer and retarget, and then gradually over time, potentially sift out the cold one, because the other ones are just way more efficient. So it's a staging process. Do you do any investing at all, like in stocks or property or anything? Yeah. So you know how like typically if you invest in anything, you don't go put all your eggs in one basket. You don't buy just one asset unless you're just starting out. But as your portfolio grows, you hedge yourself and diversify across different assets, right? As you grow, different segments of your marketing campaigns will act as like their own portfolio. So for example, you'll have, well, it's more than messaging. So whether that message is distributed through organic, distributed through ads, distributed through, I don't know, magazines, not recommending that, but wherever you're distributing your message, you will have a portfolio of messages that tailor to each stage of awareness that collectively shift your revenue up. So and similar to like in investing, like if you're a young beginner in investing and maybe the first thing you buy is, I don't know, the S&P 500, or you buy your first property or whatever, you are in that your eggs in all in one basket because you just don't have the cash. You're not at a big enough level to diversify your portfolio. Same happens in marketing, where when your budget and your revenue is not large enough, you've got to put all the eggs in one basket. That could be ads, could be organic, whatever. But as you scale, then you diversify your eggs, because and you may have experienced this where let's say a certain direct response message gets you to here, and then it just stops. And all of a sudden, profitability starts to teeter. You try and increase the budget, and you've probably heard people talk about this. They increase the budget, and all of a sudden, costs blow out. Everything starts to fuck up. And it's like, what the hell? At $200 a day, this was crushing it, but at $300 a day, it starts to fuck up. It's because you push into a wider audience, and therefore the wider audience isn't receptive to that style of message. So you need to diversify your messaging to unlock that next level of spend, that next level of growth, if that makes sense.
That makes sense. Yeah.
It's a roundabout way of explaining it, but I hope the analogy tied it together.